Monday, October the 9th, 23, 3:30 p.m. And I'm gonna do a roll call first. Let's see. Mr. Pope,
Present.
Mr. Lucas,
Present.
Mr. Barner.
Present.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna ask Steve if he would to lead us in prayer before we get started. Steve.
Now, please, Father in heaven, Lord, thank you for today. Lord, thank you for all your blessings. Lord, just give us the wisdom to make the right decisions and think out things we need to do. Lord, bless all of our county employees. Lord, just keep them safe and watch over them doing the daily work. Lord, just forgive us for all of our sins. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Be seated. Okay. We have some guest speakers. Mr.
Mr. Chairman, if it was all right, can we go ahead and bring up GSP? Let's get knock that out and get it out of the way. So they ain't got to wait till the end. They got other stuff to go do. Just move them to the front.
Can we do that? We can move them up.
Yes.
Whenever we start the agenda items.
We can when we get there.
Okay.
Let's do the, yeah, when we get to the agenda items, we'll do it.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and do the speakers, the guest speakers first. Okay, we do have a guest speaker, Barry Tanner, Pinocchio Miracle League.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Thank
sir.
you all for having me. I just wanted to come and say simply thank you. Thank you to this commission and thank you to our community for what you did for the Miracle League, and give you a little update. But a couple of folks to make sure I thank publicly. You all very much ran the show. It's up to you to make it go. We can't thank you enough for that. But also we had the recreation department has been a huge blessing, and without their support, we couldn't make it happen on a regular basis, the Miracle League games and the Miracle League seasons. And that's Lance Adamson. And Alton Cade was a big part of that going in the past. We're going to miss Alton, of course, but really appreciate those guys. And getting the field done, instrumental with Scott, absolutely critical in working with us getting that done. And Brandon Wallace and Gene Thompson, I just want to throw those names out there and tell y'all thank you from the Miracle League for making the league happen again. And on a field that's completely accessible for all wheelchairs, come rain or shine. If it's not raining at game time, we can play games now. And you just don't understand without being there, actually being a parent, probably or a guardian, how important it is for these 105 players this time in our fall season, which thank God is the most we've ever had, and probably because of your partnership with us in getting this field done. But you don't understand how important it is for these players to be able to play once we tell them the season start. They look forward to it to the nth degree. And it's baseball with a smile. If you've never been, anybody in the office has never been, please come out and support these players. You got players from age 5 to 75, and they have a blast. And we just simply help them get the game going and encourage them and cheer for them. And we invite you all to come out and do the same for them. That's a blessing. And it says a lot about this community and your leadership to allow us to have done that. You all participated with the in-kind part. I know the public probably doesn't need to hear it again, but the in-kind part was huge, having the field there, the lights, the stands, the parking, the dirt, the whole works, and a huge part of what we did. And then you chimed in with the financial part too, and then we raised as a community $375,000 to make it work, plus another 20 or 30 to put the signage in and get things tidied up. So just want to say thank you. That's the only reason I'm here is thank you very much for what you did. God bless every one of you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Barry. Thank you very much. Okay. We got is Julie Highsmith on the nightclub in Jamestown.
Hello, thank you for allowing me to speak here today. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Julie Highsmith, and my family and I have lived in the Jamestown community for over 30 years. Recently, it's been brought to my attention and that the old Kirkland's Skating Rink building has been purchased, and the new owner will be opening a nightclub called Domain Event. I'm going to quote now from what was posted on Facebook. New club, Domain Event coming soon, Waycross, Georgia, for all events. Me, Mike Jones, Stu Watt will be in charge of everything. Security will be enforced. This will be a new place to Dust City and something different where you can have events. Big parking area on 6 acres of land, big on the inside, and we in the county. We finna bring some new hype with emojis, fire, wine, beer, flexing arm, and party to the city with this club and get Waycross back jumping every week. We're having grand opening November 24th, that Friday. Can y'all share this for me? Show some love. This is what was posted on Facebook. As a resident of Jamestown, I would like to say that I am here at this meeting in protest against opening Domain Event in our community. Jamestown may be in the county, as mentioned on their Facebook post, but we are also a neighborhood. We enjoy living in our neighborhood where it is peaceful and quiet, and families can raise their children away from city life, loud music, and adult activities that you know will be held there, which I believe the Bible teaches are immoral and not pleasing to God. After speaking with my county commissioner and receiving instructions from the county clerk in advisement from the county attorney, I have developed a petition that I would like to circulate in Jamestown to protest the Domain Event from even opening its doors in our community. If anyone would like to help me get the petition going in your neighborhood, please see me for copies. I've got copies with me now, and I have been advised that only residents of Jamestown can sign the petition.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. We have James Conley.
Mr. Chairman and Commissioners, I appreciate y'all listening to me today. As Julie was just saying, I feel the same way, and just by listening to the post that was made right there, that kind of sums up what we're dealing with out. It's going to be happening out in Jamestown if this goes through. I've lived in Jamestown most of my life. In fact, I moved there when I was 1 year old in 1952. And most of the years, besides renting at different places, I've lived in Jamestown or being off in college. So I know Jamestown really well. It's a fine residential community. It's got some older houses, some historic houses out there. It's got a lot of newer houses as well. It's a great area to live. And as far as I can remember, there's never been a bar, nightclub, anything like that ever built in residential Jamestown. So this, this is upsetting a lot of Jamestown people. Right. I'm going to tell you like it is right now. And first of all, I'd like to say, as a liquor license already been approved?
They hadn't even submitted a license application, have they, James?
Okay. I'm totally against it. And I think most of the people in the Jamestown area and in the residential area will be against this. We've never had anything like this open out there. And I can tell you right now, common sense wise, it'll hurt the property values. And I can tell you right straight out, because I've been on grand jury before. Wherever you have a bar or nightclub, there's going to be alcohol. Where you have alcohol, there's going to be drugs. Yeah. And where there's alcohol and drugs, there's going to be violence. So it all works together. And people that say it don't are not telling the truth. So I'm totally against this project. And when it gets right down to it, the vast, and I'm not speaking for everybody in Jamestown, really I am. The vast majority of residents in Jamestown, they don't want a nightclub out. They don't want a bar. They don't want anything that's going to sell alcohol out there and cause a problem that leads to drugs and any kind of violence. So, there's gonna be a lot of people, there'll be a lot of petitions signed, and a lot of folks, will be voicing their opinion. So please, please listen to what I've got to say, Ms. Julie's got to say, and, please weigh it very carefully. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Thank you, Coach.
James, will you come up and tell us what you know about it? James,
You want to have your 5 minutes?
yeah. I don't think they've asked for a permit yet, I don't think, have they?
No, sir. I've had a conversation with the new owner by phone, and he was inquiring what he had to do to create an event center there. So I asked him about alcohol license, did he want to try to apply for an alcohol license? He said he wasn't interested in getting an alcohol license at this time, but he was supposed to come in the next day. I've not seen him, so that's kind of where we're at.
So in order for him to have an event, he wouldn't be able to have alcohol out there, would he?
And the only way he can have alcohol out there with an event is he would have to have a licensed caterer that has a valid county alcohol license to serve at that event. A special event license for Ware is only allowed, without a licensed caterer, is only allowed for civic and nonprofit organizations.
Are there any licensed caterers in Ware County?
I'm not aware of any.
No, not me.
James, does zoning in that area allow for this type?
There's no zoning.
Something. Sir?
There's no zoning. Zoning
So-
stops at Turner's Road.
So it could be a nightclub or a hog farm or whatever.
Yes, sir.
Has anybody filed any petitions to get the area rezoned for like agriculture or R-75?
Not as of now, there's not.
Nobody has done that yet?
No, sir.
Really, that's the only way that it can be stopped, can't it?
It could with zoning, if you can meet that timeline now, but see, zoning, it's 60, 90 days to zone something.
Right.
When you meet the state regs for advertising.
State law just changed, right?
It did.
So if he hadn't bought the license, you don't know that he's coming yet or not. And has he purchased the building? Did
He's purchased the building, from my understanding, he said it.
they bought the building?
I haven't looked on the tax rolls to see who owns it, because they don't show up until January 1 of the next year. So, what I do have proposed, and it goes for all businesses from when if it gets adopted, is to require all buildings, before a business license is issued, that the building is inspected, for life safety codes. So, but I think that's gonna come up November, or not November, but the mid-October meeting, maybe?
October 23rd.
We don't do that, we don't do that anyway?
We do it when it's requested of us to do it, but not on a constant basis.
So if we pass that ordinance, every time somebody comes to get a renewal
Not a
business.
renewal for the new business. We're not gonna do annual inspections.
Or
It's just for new business license.
isn't the city already like that?
The city does annual fire inspections on certain businesses, and they do a business license before, an inspection before a license is issued. We've never had it in our ordinance. The ones that we've done are the ones that people come and ask, hey, what I need to do, that want the building to be up to code, and that's the one we've done.
So would a fire inspection have to be done on the skating ring out there?
So we would do, usually how that goes, when people come and ask us, is myself and Dee, or the fire chief, or the building inspector and the fire chief, they'll go out there together and do an inspection. And, you know, recommend where the fire extinguishers go, evacuation routes, no, round door knobs, if your panel's not labeled, label your panel, fire extinguishers, exit signs, emergency backup. It's not the, you know, we're not gonna go out there and say, hey, you gotta sprinkle the building, but it's just the life safety kind of minimum codes.
Well, he could probably bring the building up to code, but can we deny a special event club? Scott, can we do that, or?
Jennifer might be able to turn on, I would imagine if you don't have any legal basis for doing so, you could
Deny it.
get
Well, I think the reality for now is, although, and I know there has been a Facebook posting, from our point of view, we actually we don't have an application for, an occupational permit. We don't have a application for an alcohol license. So at this time, at least from the paperwork, we don't have any paperwork that would indicate that is going to in fact go forward out there. I think your question, and it's one that we will have to study on fully before responding to, but as Commissioner Pope alluded to, one difficulty, and there's a benefit to not having zoning, but then also we see the other side of not having zoning in this situation, which is the idea behind zoning, that you can control, certain development in certain areas that may be undesirable. So that's something that the commission, may want to study on. We can also, James and I have talked about the resolution that he's talking about to have inspection before we issue those permits, and so that's something else we can look into. So, the short story is that we will treat this, if the application does come, we will treat it as we do any other application. We will process it in accordance with Georgia law and in accordance with our codes. But those are a few things we will look into if in fact it is received, which it has not been to date.
Okay. It sounds like a special event, just, if he's gonna have anything, it'll be just big old whoopee parties or something like that. That's what he's after. I mean, I wanna know, cause I'm not for stuff like that. I don't see why they wanna go to the middle of a subdivision or area like that to wanna start one of them things.
Yeah, I'm not
They wanna
sure
go there, go
exactly
to the
what
swamp somewhere and holler all you want to. Not up there where people live. Okay. Thank you, James.
Thank you, Chief.
We just have to get to it when but I don't know what we can do about it right now.
Let's wait on the paperwork, to be
Yeah.
filed, see what actually they want to
See
do.
what he asked us for. Okay.
And Mr. Chairman, if you would like to, just for the minutes, I know there are a lot of folks here and we don't desire to have everybody speak to have repetitive, but I expect there may be a lot of people here that are also in agreement with that. So if the chairman would like, we could have a show of hands that we could then reflect in the minutes if there is a desire to communicate to the commission your opposition to the club in that area.
Yeah,
So
everybody raise their hand that don't want it.
Who's against it?
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody wants it?
About 3/4?
Oh, nobody, okay. Sound like we got a majority that don't want it.
And we'll just have that reflected in the minutes, just so we don't,
let
take
it-
up the commission's time as far as duplicative, testimony, but we do understand that that is the case, and we will have that reflected. Thank you all for
Okay.
being here.
Thank you, counsel. Go ahead.
Question, what you said, what is the procedure then if we need to possibly petition for rezoning?
James?
I can prepare you a petition, for that neighborhood, with all the parcels on there, and we'll give it to you, go out and get the neighborhood to start signing.
I mean, is there a time limit on this or anything like that? I understand it.
About a 3-month process,
Oh, yeah.
James.
Rezone it.
Process, okay.
Would that affect his property if he's already bought it under this condition?
He would be
Probably wouldn't.
grandfathered in, I imagine.
I don't think it would it?
Madam Attorney,
Well, if there had already been, application made, so if we had already issued an alcohol license, if we had already issued a business permit, if we had already done those sorts of things, I do believe that would be grandfathered in if the zoning came after that.
Okay. So it might be good to go
So
ahead.
if it's
with
already
that
in
zoning.
use for a purpose that would then not be in compliance with the zoning that is ultimately approved, that could be grandfathered in, you're correct.
Okay.
James, would that have to go through planning commission first by code? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Is everybody pleased with that? Thank y'all for coming. Thank y'all for being concerned about it too. Okay. Thomas Littlejohn on Pascal Road.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
no,
I'm not here to hash up, all the issues that's about Pascal Road, but I am here today for the benefit, for the record, on behalf of my wife and my family, that since 2009 to the present 2023, I've made calls to the road department, attended these meetings, trying to get help because of the constant flooding across the road and dangerous corners every time it rained hard. I listened to the opening prayers. We pledged to the flag with the final words, and justice for all. Well, on Pascal Road, from the inner cattle gap, where there's no longer cattle, only cotton fields, all the way around to Smith Road that's been paved and finished. There are 12 Ware County tax-paying property owners and families. Except for one, we're all black Americans. Where's the justice for us? Where's the justice for all?
Okay, thank you, Tom. Have we heard any more about that right away on that
I
thing?
was gonna ask Brandon, we
Brandon.
have a surveyor
Brandon,
going
you
out there. I
got
think
update
Brandon
on
probably
that?
can allude to that.
Yeah, you got an update?
Yes,
Come
sir,
on
Mr.
up,
Chairman.
tell us about it.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman,
Thank you.
Commissioners. I contacted the surveyor that did the original plat that we all circulated to come up with the acreage that was gonna be required to do the radius clearing that we talked about, trying to safe up that one intersection coming back towards Smith Road from Mr. Littlejohn's residence. And we're supposed to be going out there this week to actually stake this area out on his property to help him understand how small of an area that we're talking about. We kind of had a little bit of a disagreement and negotiation that's ongoing that we haven't been able to come to terms on yet with the value of his property and what he is requiring as far as compensation for it, for us to actually buy that property, clear that, and then we'll be able to make sure that it's safe and you can see any oncoming traffic in that curve. You can see across the radius, and so you would know if there was a vehicle coming to help you avoid them in that kind of a dangerous area there. There's another curve going in the other direction back towards the cattle gap that we'll have to probably do a similar type of a thing with. So we're just trying to be mindful of the fact that we're, setting precedents with this, and we don't want to go and do anything that's going to hinder us from, negotiating anything in the future with any of these other landowners on other properties as well as this one.
Okay, can you tell me how many houses is past his place on toward the cattle gap? I know where you're talking about. Is there one or two more, Thomas?
You know how many people are between you and the cattle gap going back towards Wadley Road to the north? I don't have that number.
Does anybody else live in
My
there?
house is two families.
He said there's
Two-
two families.
two families
between
live
his
down.
property and the cattle gap going
Okay.
north, Mr. Chairman.
Is the houses vacant or somebody living in them?
Do you know if any of the houses are vacant or if they're all occupied right now?
One lot is vacant, two other houses are occupied.
He's got one vacant residence and two occupied there.
Two occupied.
Commissioner.
Okay. If that road paved, it'll have to go on to the cattle gap then to cover everybody.
Yes, sir. We could, talk about trying to go all the way Wadley Road, which would be the ideal circumstance. If we had to put a cul-de-sac there, we could do that, and we could abandon that portion beyond the cattle gap. That would be all, all those options would be on the table, however best y'all felt would be the.
Yeah.
Does the Fuller family still own that field on both sides of the enclosed part of Water Road?
I didn't catch that name there.
Fullers.
Fullers?
They still own the
Fuller.
farm between the two cattle gaps?
Yeah, Ford.
Yes.
Yes, sir, we think so.
It's still private. That portion of
Yeah.
Pascal is private. Between the cattle gaps.
Yeah.
I know that, I just wondered if Fuller still owns it.
Yeah, but we don't own that easement though, do we?
That's a
That's a
prescriptive easement.
prescriptive easement. We don't own that easement through the
Yes.
fuller.
No, sir, there's never been a deed recorded and
No.
plat recorded and to transfer ownership to us. It's more of like a prescriptive easement, like county manager said. We're using their property for public access and maintaining it for the public.
Okay.
Now, Pascal Road, you got a 30-foot right of way on it now?
It's a 30-foot prescriptive easement. It's actually a little wider than 30 feet, what's actually under use currently. I think it's about 35 according to the survey that we did to determine that acreage was
So
needed.
we need a minimum of 30 foot to pave it, correct? 20 foot paved and 5 foot on each side for ditches?
You wouldn't have very much of a ditch, but
I know.
you would have something there.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you have less than 50 feet, you have to go like to a curb and gutter type of a section to try to fit that in with,
Yeah.
which makes it more expensive. Because then you have to have longitudinal drainage and cross drains and catch basins.
If you're able to fit ditches in there, they're gonna be very deep, very steep.
Another problem we have out there is outfall drainage. Been told that there was an additional outfall ditch that's been covered up by one of the property owners out there. And so that's what we have in a lot of these areas. There's no drainage out there. There's no outfall ditches. Things like that happen and then have a lot of standing water, Mr. Chairman. That'd be something we could, try to negotiate if we ever wanted to try to pave that road. We'd have to do all that up front and try to get all that acquired and taken care of.
I believe if we pave that road, it needs to go all the way to Waterloo. We need to see about buying whatever we need from the footers to open that whole road up. If we're gonna pave the whole thing, not pave down to dead end, stop it.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
sir.
totally agree too.
Yeah.
Well, let me say, I've been on commission, I think, close to 4 years now, and this has been something that's been steadily spoken about and approached about this Pascal Road. And it always comes up about the cattle gap and the fullets and all this kind of stuff. And one time we couldn't determine whether we owned the road or not own the road, but we finally established that we did own the road up to the cattle gap. So
It's a public easement up to the cattle gap.
to the cattle gap.
Yes, sir.
Okay, but so basically what it's saying, basically that's our road.
To maintain.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so with that being said, my thing was, okay, if we go up to the cattle gap, and I know the ideal thing would be going to Watley Road, but if we can't do that, we shouldn't allow that to say, well, we can't do anything now, because we just can't get that portion of it. And I think this is what the people out there in that area are saying, is that, we talk about the cattle gap, we're saying, okay, just go up to the cattle gap, I mean, that wouldn't be the ideal thing, but, and the main thing is to go back, just to back up a little bit. My understanding is they weren't so much talking about paving as they were about the blind curve. That's the main thing to me, seem like that they're talking about right now. Is
So John, do you travel mostly back to Smith Road when you're coming and going to town? You go out to what, shorter for you to go out to Watley, so you would use that portion more so than? Yes, sir. Most of the houses are also between Mr. Littlejohn, it sounds like, and Smith Road.
So they go out
back
to
in that
Watley.
direction.
Okay. All right, we bring it up again, we'll talk about it some more.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you, Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Littlejohn.
Thank you, Thomas, for coming.
Mr. Chairman, can I say something before we?
Yeah.
While we got all these Jamestown folks here, we're just about through with Tanner Lane, crossing Kettle Creek, comes over into Frontier State Subdivision. To get a chance to go down that road, I think it's open at it, Brandon.
We were waiting to get the striping done to remove the barricades, Commissioner. We were supposed to have done that Friday, and I think it's scheduled for tomorrow, possibly.
Okay. So that's a really nice road. If you get a chance to go down it, I think y'all be pleased with it. Been a long, about 7 years, I think. So right after I took office, that was one of our first things that we tried to get going. And the Tanner family has requested to have a naming of that bridge. I think Tanner Memorial Bridge, because the Tanners at one time owned all of the property out there on the north side of Kettle Creek. And I've been talking with, Neil's daughter about having a little ceremony out there. Just as quick as we can get that road striped and safe, we're gonna have a little ceremony out there, man. Thank you.
Okay. Thank y'all for coming. Okay, thank you, Steve. We need a motion to approve his agenda.
Chairman, I make a motion to approve the agenda that's set forth in front of us.
Okay,
I'll second.
got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Motion?
Yeah, we'll vote. Let's vote on it.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Mr. Burris?
That's what he asked for.
Yeah, had a motion.
Aye.
And a second. Okay. Okay. Okay, now let's go to the, you wanna get the, we wanna move on down to F for discussion. Can we do that, Council? Okay, we're gonna move down to discussion of possible action concerning the Georgia State Patrol Post 22. And, I'm gonna ask Timmy if he would
Yes,
tell us what he knows about it. And
I'm gonna introduce these gentlemen and this young lady back there. I've known several of them for years. Had the honor of meeting the new post commander we just got about a month ago now, Mr. Brandon Smith, the new post commander. Then we got Master Trooper Gentry Maddox, and then we got Miss Alicia Gerard, and Mr. Justin Jones, that Master Trooper too. Okay. And Master Trooper Merritt Meeks, and then joining us at the end down there is Trooper Rigby. And it's my intentions of trying to assist, not do it all, but assist with the city's help, with Mr. Jason, which just happened to be here tonight, so I've already spoken to him. Me and him hadn't been able to hit it up because he was out of town most of the week last week. And I've also got with Chief Schubert, and we all agree, in my best estimation, that it would be the best thing to do. And since I've already introduced y'all, if y'all would like to make y'all's way this way, I want to read a couple of things, because I'm a research person. And the two things I would like to read, I just Googled, for example, I Googled, what does a local county commissioner do? And it said, commissioners are responsible for overseeing the county's management and administration, representing county interests at the state and federal level, participating in long-range planning, and managing the county budget and finances. And to me, that was just too broad of a spectrum. So I said, what do county commissioners do in Georgia? And it says, as established by the Georgia Constitution and the official code of Georgia annotated, county commissioners in this state, including Fayette County, are charged with the responsibility of providing a system of local government services designed to protect the health, safety, and welfare of all of our citizens. We got 3 mighty fine law enforcement agencies here, and that's if we lose these guys and gals. If we keep them, then we have 4. And I know Commissioner Pope knows exactly what I'm talking about, being his dad did what he did and retired. I know Mr. Leonard knows well because his son worked and retired from Waycross PD before he went to the railroad. I've been out there several times. Y'all all know how I feel about public safety and first responders. And there's several things here that I think have been overlooked. And I know I've had a couple of conversations about Pierce County, and it was brought up that Pierce County has told some of us, not me, but some of us, that they wasn't in no way trying to get the trooper post put in Pierce County. Well, I've got 2 gentlemen here that just had conversations last week or the week before, sir?
No, sir, last year.
Last year.
Last year.
That they were avidly seeking, trying to get y'all moved to Pierce County.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And that also come from the now promoted post commander in Lowndes County, which is Miles Cooper. I think they just kind of, I don't know how the troopers do it. I work for the city. But I know when I needed help, they were always there to back me up. When we had that situation at Walmart that time, that night, GSP is who I saw flying by. I do not believe it's gonna cost, the numbers that I've been hearing is gonna cost, and I do not believe we would have to borrow money from a bank to do this. I believe with the city's help, Mr. Jason Rubenbauer's help, with the county's help, and the city, and the prison, inmate labor, I believe this thing could be done. My main purpose in wanting to relocate GSP out close to the airbase is so we would have direct access to their aeronautical equipment. And another little caveat in here before I let them, I'm not trying to take y'all's time away here, but they are also a revenue generator for this county. So I had one of the people that work for them pull the numbers out of 5 local counties that they all work, these 5 particular counties, unless they're called to emergency in another county. And even though we don't see GSP in Ware County a lot, they still brought in more revenue for Ware County than they did the other counties. They pulled into the two, Miss Alicia, what, little over $700,000. Little over $700,000 was revenue that they brought in for Ware County. And that's Ware County alone. Does not include the other counties that they work in. And we were generated more money from them than the other counties were generated. So that's what I'm trying to do. That is, I sent all y'all an email, and in that email, I told everybody that I would go talk to the city, be willing to do that myself, that I would talk to Jason, I would do that myself. I'd go out and talk to the warden and deputy warden of security and get an inmate crew. Because I've talked with a couple contractors. And every contractor I've talked with, whether it be plumbing, architectural, whatever, they have all said, why do you want to fix what this is here? You could build another one cheaper. Because if you get in just to fixing the pipe, I mean, if you go in there and start busting up that concrete, what the gentleman told me from Hodges Plumbing said we're talking between $50,000 and $70,000 to replace the cast iron that's under that building. And we're talking about cast iron now, almost 70 years old. So that's what my intentions are. Mr. Post Commander is Brandon Smith. If you would like to say a couple things, Mr. Gentry Maddox, Master Trooper Merritt Meeks. This is Mr. Justin Jones and Mr. Rigby. And then that is the boss, Alicia Gerard, right there in the middle. She's the one that I go out there and meet first. And first thing I noticed when I went out there, right behind that window where she sits, I could push that window open with my hand. And I'm a good guy. So there's a lot of inner little twinket things is what I call it that would need to be done out there at that post that hadn't been put on the table yet. When the air conditioner comes on, you can feel a breeze come through just about every one of them windows out there. They've outgrown this post. They've got a big FTO program out there now. The gentlemen going through and ladies going through the FTO program have to stay there. Is that correct? They have to stay at the post. And then like Master Trooper Meeks, his office is commingled with Miss Alicia's office because he don't even have an office. So now we got to add on to the building if we do that. So I just think we're going to spend way too much money bringing that building up to par than it would to relocate them. And plus, the whole motto of relocating them close to the air base is to have direct access to that aeronautical equipment.
Well, Timmy, I'd like to see a new post myself, but we got, you got to think about what it costs, where the money's going to come from, what we're going to have to do. We don't really know that, but we're going to have to.
All I'm trying to do is
study it. We're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to bring it, and I'm glad it's being brought before us. But you know, we can't act on it until and we'd have to talk with Scott and find out what we can do. But we don't know. If the building's if it needs repaired, then we could probably do some repair work. And then maybe a new building could come along sometime. But I don't know if I could see it right now.
That's why I'm laying the groundwork, laying the footwork.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're concerned, and I think you headed in the right direction. But at this time, we can't you know, we're gonna have to just,
What are you projecting a new post would cost? Because in the previous, not the one that's just passed, but the previous sales tax referendum, the city passed a sales tax, and including in that referendum was a new state patrol post. We already had a location, already had the plans. County voters said no, they turned it down. So that was the money gone. They said the same thing about the courthouse that we wanted to renovate. Said, no, we're not doing it. So what is your projected cost for this new facility? Because of my family's history, the Department of Public Safety, yes, I want to do it, but the problem is money. If you can come up, to me, if you can come up with a written proposal showing where funding is going to come from in every basket you can find, I'm willing, I would like to see it, but.
That's why I asked him to come, because I've met with every one of them, and that's what I'm trying to get accomplished. With y'all's permission, so I can move forward, I'm willing to do all the legwork, I'm willing to get estimates, I'm willing to put a little packet together for y'all from start to finish.
I think what we need to do to start off with, get somebody from facilities management, the GSP, what's our major name from South Park, Bolton?
Oh, yes, sir.
Bolton.
Mr. Ball.
I've been in contact with him. And he's gonna get a delegation together with driver services, and they're planning on coming down here, and evaluate the building out there to see what y'all actually need. So I'm just waiting on them to set up a time to come down here. Driver services, I've been in contact with them also, and if they get a new building, if they build a building nowadays, it's 4,000 square feet. And if GSP builds a new building, it's probably gonna be 7,000 or 8,000 square feet. $200 a square feet, you're looking $2 million. I mean, or more. The one they just built in Hazelhurst, I think it's over $2 million. And the city of Hazelhurst had to go out and borrow the money to pay for that thing with. They're paying over $6,000 a month payments on that thing. Although the inmate labor helped them build it. But, you know, we just need to, the folks in Atlanta come down here and tell us what they need. You know, no offense to y'all boards or anything like that.
Well, I would like to say the same thing, Commissioner Barnard. No offense to them in Atlanta, but Atlanta don't live here, Atlanta don't work here.
They're the one that controls everything.
I agree, but these troopers work and live in our county. This is all the citizens' county. Those people are up there in the big city of Atlanta. I mean, they don't come down here, they don't travel our roads, they don't make arrests, they don't keep the community safe down here. They do up there, but they don't down here in the south.
how old is that building that's out there?
63.
63.
Built in
Built in
63?
63.
Mid-sixties, I thought, wasn't it?
63.
Opened
66,
in
yeah.
66 is when it opened, right? 66, so you're talking, what is my math, 60 years?
Well, that ain't good.
It ain't. And they've still got the same windows in it, I believe, that they put in it 1966. Same windows. Same plumbing, same everything.
Let me ask this, so where the Georgia State Patrol is located now, who owns that building and land there now?
Ware County.
Ware County?
Ware County owns that, okay.
You see, I remember my years as, and we can talk about that afterwards, but my thing, just like we mentioned, asking where the money's gonna come from. Well, you just heard the revenue, that GSP, just GSP alone, not counting Ware County, not counting Jimbo, just GSP alone is over $700,000. More in Ware County than the other counties that they patrol.
Look at the size of Ware County versus them other counties.
I agree.
Well, let me ask you this, does the building really need a lot of work done on it right now? We looked at it, I think it does, and I went and looked myself, I think it does need some work on it. Scott, could we look at some renovating or some?
We
Do
have,
we have any kind of budget?
yeah,
for that?
we have started trying to do some of the repairs.
Started some renovating on it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But to reiterate, like talking about the plumbing, the plumber, I stood right there with him. They had to stop it because there was a meeting going on out there with some people from Atlanta. So they had to stop the work that Hodges Plumbing was doing And that man stood right there and looked me in my face, and he said, within 2-3 years max, we'll be back out here doing the same thing again, because these are black cast iron pipes. He said, you're just not going to fix them. They've got to be replaced. And he said, minimum of 50,000, upwards of 70,000, to replace it from every drop out to the sewage line on US 1 South.
Well, there's a
And that's just the
number,
plumbing.
there's a number of points that we can do, in my opinion, regardless of a new post. I mean, it's not fixed to get built right now, but that building needs renovating right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Only thing I'm asking for, commissioners and chairmen, is to give me the green light to do what I explained in my email.
I will vote to give you and Commissioner Barner the green light because y'all are already on that committee. And come back with a recommendation to us with all the facts that y'all have.
Okay.
That's just my vote. I'm on vote.
And
Could I
if we
have-
put it on the spot, on the next time we have a referendum, and you put the building on there, and if it passes, then they'll get to do business. That's the way I look at it.
Well, I don't think we need to go about it that route. Don't need,
I don't think you're gonna get it no other way. It's gonna have to be paid for somehow.
well, I mean, you take $6,000 that we just said that Hazelhurst is paying a month and divide that into $700+ thousand. Tell me how many months that pays for. I mean, we can nitpick this to death sitting right here in front of everybody, and I don't wanna do that. Only thing I'm asking for is the green light from every one of y'all. And I even told Steve, I'll talk with them out there at the prison, the warden, deputy warden. I'll go talk with the city. I've already got 2 commissioners from the city buying in on it. And I'm also, Jason Rubenbauer is here, and he'll tell you. I've spoken to him about some property in close proximity to the airport. The day and time we're living in right now is so crucial. Our future is crucial. And I would love to have the aeronautical equipment that they have in their arsenal to help Ware County citizens.
Don't they land helicopters out there now?
Who?
State Patrol, they land at the GSP post now.
What, once every 3 or 4 years?
How? Do y'all need a helicopter down here?
We have hangars, but now aviation has called upon a lot to assist, like missing, kids or what have
But
you.
y'all can land them out there at the post, what I'm getting at. Y'all can land helicopters
They
at
don't
the
have
post.
refueling and maintenance and things like that, it's just where we could land anywhere.
Right.
That's right.
We got the new airport manager here. He can make the arrangements that we need. I mean, Commissioner Barnard has already spoken last week to the Speaker of the House and the legislators, and you started yours. Y'all need to get together and come back to us with funding and a plan.
Okay.
That's my vote.
Y'all do that.
All right.
Okay. All right.
Because driver services has got to be addressed also. Steve is fairly making arrangements for that at this time. So it's going to take both of y'all. I won't vote for just one person. Needs to be a committee. Of course, the chairman's part of any committee.
And the other thing, I want to separate them from DMVS.
Yeah, that's the plan right now.
Well, if the
Steve's
plan
already
goes
addressing
that I'm
that.
working on, they will be separated.
Okay.
But if driver services moved out of that building, wouldn't that give y'all plenty of room then?
It would give us extra room, yes.
So you're totally looking at what, 30 by 40, what driver services we
measured it,
measured the other day?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
Something like
sorry,
that?
close to that.
That's 120 square foot right there, for offices and stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
I got one thing, just for clarification, okay, the revenue says, so 700,000 that comes into Ware County? So does all that money goes into the Ware County coffers, or do we have to distribute that out, or I'm just trying to,
Yes, sir. The state patrol does not get any percentage of any fines we write in any county. So in other words, all the DUIs, speed, seatbelt, what have you, it all goes right back to the,
Fine, stay in the county where the case was made.
okay, so that's,
What's the breakdown between the city and the county? The cases y'all make in the city, that goes to the city away across.
right, whichever court system writes the ticket in, that's where the revenue goes. Yes, sir.
Goes to,
The only numbers they pulled on that 700K plus was Ware County. That didn't include the cities. That was just Ware.
okay.
And that's why I said, in my email that I would approach the city manager and their commission. I've already got 2 of their commissioners on board with me.
All right.
We'll just see what we can come up with.
Okay.
Thank y'all.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate y'all
coming.
coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all's interest in it. Okay. Let's go to A, the,
Mr. Chairman, before we get started, can I get Brandon to come up here and give us a update on what he has got done out there?
Brandon.
He's spent a pretty good bit of time out there.
Brandon, what you,
I want you to give us an update on what you have got accomplished out there at the State Patrol Office, of what you have found out there.
Oh, yes, sir. There were some complaints about the sewage out there. They're having problems with the water coming into the building. And so we had a plumber to come out there and look at the lines and everything. And we've got a pretty good idea that if we can put one of those small self-contained pump stations out there, that would alleviate any kind of flooding inside the building during a lot of rainfall events is what they were mentioning as the problem was. Whenever there's a lot of rain, the lift station down there, the city lift station, is not able to keep up with the inflow coming in, and the sewer actually backs up in that main and comes into the building. And so we were looking at that, we're gonna try to take some shots just to verify that is exactly what's going on with it. We wanted to get the system that's in place, the commissioner alluded to, and check it out, get the plumber in there with a camera to video everything, clean all those lines out, and see what was going on to make sure there's not a problem inside the building. And so they came out, and after some holdups, like the commissioner mentioned earlier, they were able to get all of those lines videoed and checked out. And one of the things they included in their quote was the replacement of those existing toilets, because there's those cast iron lines there. Those high efficiency toilets, the flush of 1 gallon or 1.2 gallons or whatever they're set at, that's just not enough volume of water to keep those solids floating out of the building. And so what we did was they wanted to go back to a standard toilet and raise that water level just as much as they possibly can to get closer to the 3 gallons, 2.8 gallons, whatever, with a standard toilet, to have enough volume of water to get those on down the line, because there were some backups that they saw when they did their inspection. The lines themselves were in good shape. They said they didn't see any problems with any of the joints in the pipes, and they've got a head that they run through there, cleaning that out, and it actually will cut all the rust and everything out of there and polish the inside of the pipe. And it's just like a new pipe when they get through, and should last, until that corrosion things can build back up again inside that line, and then they might have to come back and repeat the process as needed. But keeping those standard toilets in place is going to be a big step in keeping that system operating like it needs to. I've got a meeting set up with a contractor that's been doing some remodeling, some renovating for us, some different offices in the county. We're supposed to be meeting hopefully this week. He was going to take a few days off, maybe be back in town in the latter part of the week. I was going to meet him out there. I got an email from Mr. Cooper, Sergeant Cooper, who was here, and now he's over in Valdosta, where he outlined some items that they wanted to see addressed. And so we just started going down the line. A train is also supposed to be coming sometime this week possibly, or maybe the first of next week, to come down and evaluate the HVAC system. That was one of their top priorities on their list. Try to make sure that we get a system that's adequate for them. They've got some window units in the bathroom on the north end of the building, bedrooms, I'm sorry, on the north end of the building, so it's not adequate what they have. The guy came in to test the air quality last week, and he's pretty good. What he does, he didn't see any problems. He said it was pretty much going to be okay. One of the things he mentioned was just trying to make sure that HVAC is functioning properly and getting that humidity down to where it needs to be. So I think that's going to help us. He said he didn't think that there was any current problems. He checked the HVAC system for mold and everything, and all that came back okay. We're supposed to be getting a written report from him within the next couple of days. And HVAC plumbing, the mold issue, we're gonna take a water sample when I meet the contractor out there this week, and I'm gonna get that tested. That was one of the concerns in the email
I mean,
as
the
well.
water sample ought to be good, it's on city water, isn't it? It's not on
Yes,
well.
sir. I think there's, the age of the pipes that are there is maybe raising a flag with somebody that we might ought to get that checked. So we'll get a sample and take it to the city or maybe over to Blackshear and have it tested to make sure that it's okay. The plumbing, the video, and the cleaning and everything they did turned out pretty well. And so they felt satisfied that the new standard toilets and cleaning out those lines should address that, along with the one of those little standalone lift stations outside. And then you'd have a pressure force main into the manhole out there, Chairman. So if that water gets up, it's gonna be blowing out in the ditch before it ever backs up in the building in the future, and that'll safeguard against that. There might be a better way that you can come up with of trying to do something. They said a lot of those flat baffle things and people try to put in sometimes, they don't really work very well. Toilet paper and things like that can get hung up on them, but if we pump it out to that manhole, there shouldn't be any way they have any more sewage backing up on them inside the building.
I've heard you about everything you said. It reminded me of my wife when she wanted a new car. Everything went wrong with that thing. The door handle, the pocket wouldn't work, the trunk wasn't right. Something was wrong with that thing. So it sounded like that's about that building. Everybody is wanting a new building. I mean, not cutting you down now.
Oh, yeah, I didn't write the
True, I mean,
email. I'm just addressing
where-
the concerns that
where
are
are
on
we
the
at?
email that came from the state patrol office.
It ain't gonna take nothing, but we're gonna spend a pile of money doing, but you gonna go into plumbing without spending a pile of money. So you might as well, let's patch it up till we figure out a way to build a building.
But based on what Brandon said,
Yeah,
they've
well,
already
good.
done that.
Yeah, that's done.
They've already done what he's
How
talking
much have
about.
we spent?
Gene, do you remember what the quote was on the plumbing? It was
$3,900.
$3,900.
Chicken change compared to other stuff.
That's a lot of money.
But we haven't put that, the little intimate, I guess, pump that up under the flat, we haven't put that in, right?
No, sir.
Okay, but we've got the lines cleared out
But everything seemed to be okay inside the
and
building.
got the standard commode, because like I said, I know these new ones, these high efficient, they good on, they don't use as much water, but then by the same token, the downside of that, it doesn't have as much force either, because what, 1.6 gallons, I believe it is?
1.28 was
Yeah,
what
and the newer, the old one, like when I built my house, about 6 or 8 gallons. I mean, it's gonna get it out of there.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's why I don't wanna take them out.
Well, now you got to go through the air condition too, or?
Yes, sir, there's been
We
some
got to
quotes
redo it
for some local
and wiring.
vendors on replacing those units that are out there. We wanted to get trained to look at it and make sure that there's not, a design issue there, that make sure that they look at the whole system and make sure everything's gonna function like it needs to after any work is done out there.
Okay.
See what they say, and just to get another set of eyes to check it out.
And I think, Mr. Chairman, if I may, like Timmy was saying, hey, if he wants to take that upon himself to do the groundwork to find out and come back, but then by the same token, like what Brandon is saying now, we have this contract to go out there, look at it, and then we look at, say, okay, this is what it would cost to renovate this and bring it up to standards, and this is what it would cost to build a new one, and like I said, I know he's interested in about the aeronautical aspect of it and also, and I don't know if that's something that can be worked out there too, I guess put a pad out there or whatever.
There's not enough area out there to do it because of that tower they got.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Brandon?
I think, hey, let him look at him and Steve, they're on that committee.
Yeah.
Just
Y'all
find out
keep
what
it
it would
going,
cost.
just finish it up, I reckon.
Well, even with a new post, that
Thank you,
building
Brent.
needs work on it.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Private
Brandon.
services would stay
Jack
there.
it up.
So we just need to maintain the building that we got,
Yeah.
regardless of the post.
I mean, we gotta maintain it anyway,
And we're,
Yeah.
because it's our building. We just we hadn't maintained it in several years, because she pulled out about 18 receipts that they paid for in the past 5 years.
Have they come to the county about
No, they
fixing
haven't,
stuff? They haven't come to us. Why?
because they got the same response you gave them while they were standing right there. That's why they quit coming here.
What response did they give him?
Basically that we wasn't gonna do it because it was gonna cost too much money.
What's that got to do with doing maintenance on a building? If they come to us and we need new commodes out here, we're gonna fix them commodes. They haven't submitted any invoices to the county.
I'm just telling you the information I received, Steve.
Okay.
they want a new building.
They won't do
So let's explain.
that. All right, move on.
Okay, A, the Georgia DOT agreement indication of roundabout support and lighting project. Okay, that's, they want us to furnish everything on the lights.
Yes, sir.
and
This
the
is-
maintenance.
This is in conjunction with the bridge replacement there over Kettle Creek on US 1. They have plans to construct a roundabout north of there. And part of that is for support of the roundabout and for the county to install the lighting for the roundabout and pay for the maintenance and operation. Kind of like what we do with the streetlights out at the Fulford Road intersection. I'm trying to get more information on this, primarily what sort of design they're talking about, how many lights and that kind of thing. If you look at I went on Google Maps and looked at the one in Argyle, and there's about a dozen streetlights in and around that roundabout there in Argyle. So that might be some indication about how many lights they're looking at.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty expensive to light that thing up if they do those two like they got in
I
Argyle.
don't remember what it cost us on the others, but Georgia Power put all the rest of it up and put the lights up. But, I keep checking, but they haven't answered me back yet. They're supposed to find out. But they want to move forward because that was they're in the process of designing it now.
Well, Scott, is DOT paying that light bill over in, Argyle? Because I know the city of
That-
Argyle can't pay it.
That's another piece of information I'm trying to find out, is who maintains it. Part of the agreement is that the county would maintain the roundabout, basically the grassy area in the middle.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to find out if that's what their arrangement is over in Clinch County. Haven't heard back. They're supposed to let me know something, I thought by the end of the day, but it may be in the morning.
Okay.
Are we paying for any street lights right in that area now?
Not that I'm aware of, no, sir. Not in their right of way. That's US 1 right of way.
Right there at the forks, I mean, the county's not paying no kind of street lights right now?
No, sir.
I don't think there's one there, huh?
How long is it gonna take to replace that bridge?
That's a good question. I think it's probably close to about a year and a half from what I understand. Brandon, do you know how long the contract is? Have they mentioned it? They don't usually say how long in our TPCC meetings.
I would guess, it wouldn't take quite that long. It's not a very long bridge right there on Kettle Creek. Pretty short bridge. I haven't seen anything on that. I can't remember if they're planning on doing a bypass bridge. Do you remember, Chairman?
I think they was gonna put a bypass bridge in.
That would
Or
make
they was gonna let that old bridge be the bypass, and the bridge is going on
They're
the
gonna
other side
actually
of
move
that.
the bridge.
Is that
New
correct?
bridge is gonna be to the west of where it
Yeah,
stands
it's
now.
gonna be the west of that.
If they do that,
So,
the old bridge would be the bypass bridge, so you still just need the new bridge. The roundabout would be built in conjunction with, weren't they like two projects that
Right.
we're gonna do together? So
Yeah.
you'd have to do the roundabout in construction, so maybe a year or so, but probably could trim that back a little bit once we saw the quantities and how much dirt it was gonna take and all that kind of stuff. We just built the bridge, right downstream from there, and, we had about a year on that contract.
Yeah, it takes
So
about
they
a
should
year
be
to
able
build.
Do something similar to that.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question, please?
yes, sir.
This roundabout, are you talking about a roundabout out there where US 1 and Jamestown Road comes together?
That's correct. Where the
I know
Jamestown
driving.
Road comes down into US one, they're gonna build a roundabout right there instead of a,
I don't know what nut came up with that, but you've been out there at 7:30 in the morning or 8:15 on Jamestown Road and US one with the traffic on the roundabout and the semis coming through there. Now, that's gonna be something to see. I'll just throw that out. That's the first, you know, I live in that, that's the first I've heard that.
Well, this is
Yeah.
a state project, county don't have anything to do with it.
I know, I understand that, that is, huge.
yeah. We can't tell them not to, but I don't reckon, can we?
I just wanna make sure that's what's going
Yeah.
around about you talking about it.
You seen the ones over in Argyle, hadn't you?
Yeah, I've been over there. They
That's-
don't have near the traffic you gonna have right there.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, it is something else in the mornings. School traffic and people going to work. And
Yeah.
people going to prison, and then in the afternoon, you got everybody coming from work and prison and going home. That's, and all the traffic that goes on US one north going to Alma and all.
Right.
That's something to see.
Okay.
I just wanted to, thank you. I just wanted to-
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Gaines.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll carry that over, vote on it, y'all wanna discuss it?
So
Any more?
we need to wait and find out if the state's paying for Argyle, stuff like that, don't we?
Yes, sir.
Before we agree
I'd like to
pay
know that myself, just for that reason. Because I'm not sure that, I'm not sure they are, but I'll find out.
Yeah.
And also, Scott, on the maintenance aspect of it, about the mowing and all that stuff, is that on like a state highway?
Well, we
It's
already-
all
Yeah,
DOT
it's
right away.
So, do we usually take care of that?
No, sir. That's their responsibility. I think that there's a push now by the state to try to get local governments to maintain everything and anything within their right of way. And the reason why I say that is because I inquired about a beautification program, using state funds, and they said that they would construct it, but we would have to maintain it, the landscaping, maintenance, the whole works, but it's all within DOT right of way.
Well, we already keeping that triangle mode already,
Mhm.
aren't we?
Yes, sir.
No, we can do no problem.
So is your recommendation to approve it today or wait on you?
Based on the conversation I had with Kelvin, he said that they needed to know as soon as possible, but I think I could get some delay on that, just to get this information and, put it on the 23rd of October, meeting. Hopefully by then we should know something.
So if the county don't agree to pay for the maintenance on it, so what happens, they just won't build it?
That's a good question. That's another
They gonna
question.
build it
That's,
one
that's,
way or the other.
that's another one of the questions I ask. So I hope to know that.
I guess he just want an agreement, ain't it, from us?
Yeah, it's more of that, you're giving support of the roundabout and also the lighting that goes along with that.
It's always good to ask.
Yeah.
You don't get it till you ask.
That's
That's
true.
what they're doing, they're asking.
The maintenance of it, I don't know. Okay. We'll carry it over. All right, B. Purchasing.
Just for clarity, Mr. Chairman, as far as carried over, I think, is it the desire of the commission for it to be moved to the October 23rd meeting to allow the county manager to gain a little more information as discussed?
I would hope that's what we do.
Okay, that's what we wanna do then, is,
Just for clarity.
wait till he gets the rest of the
We'll put it on the
information on
23rd.
it. Okay,
Thank you.
that's what we wanna do then. Okay. Okay, to be purchasing policy update.
You wanna speak with this, Jennifer? I'm gonna defer to the county attorney. She drafted this for us.
Mr. Chairman, this is just a revised procurement policy or purchasing policy. You know, various counties have different levels of what they require as far as bidding, cost estimates, those sorts of things. Under state law, there's basically two main rules that apply to you all. There's the $100,000 threshold for public works construction projects, and then there's the $200,000 threshold for roads. as long as the county's, not involved in that. There's some exceptions to the road aspect. So if you meet either of those thresholds, those are automatically bid under state law. Outside of that, really your local policy controls when you have to bid, when you have to get cost estimates, when you have to do those things, when the county manager can, within his discretion, with already budgeted things, approve those without those having to come before you. So what we have tried to do across our counties is, streamline this process within, what you all have already historically given your county manager authority to do. And so that's what you have before you.
And also, Madam Attorney, I believe they just shot down something in the governor vetoed something about the, I guess the road contract, something about.
They were trying to increase that, amount. And I think that also, there were some, if you'll read about it, there were some political aspects to it with MARTA and some different things, but you are correct. Ultimately, it was passed, interestingly, by both houses, but vetoed by the governor's office, so.
I think it went from like 100,000 to 250.
Yes, that's correct.
You could do it without having to, I guess,
Get
solicit
those
bid.
bids, that's right. It was just increasing that threshold.
Okay.
Yeah, the governor did veto it. I talked with ACCG, they're gonna, put that back on the table again next year for the next session and tweak it so that way, hopefully they can get it through because they've heard a lot of, regrets for not going through. And a lot of that had to do with MARTA. MARTA was trying to get through some of their cumbersome stuff, and so they threw MARTA's purchasing policy in with it too, and that kind of made it go sideways.
What's the spending limit, approval limit for county manager?
If you'll look down under, section 2, that's for budgeted capital expenditures. So it's $50,000 there, and then under section 4, there's non-budgeted expenditures. So 2, 3, and 4 address that issue. The budgeted capital expenditures is $50,000. The non-budgeted expenditures down in section 4 is $10,000.
What's the limit now?
Now it's set at 25.
25?
Yes, sir.
We don't have a financial director, so does that need to stay in there or taken out or what?
Chief Financial Officer.
Yeah, that's what he was talking about.
In my mind, I was thinking the finance director, but in other, some counties, they refer to that as finance director, chief financial officer, so we can revise that language to make it,
What's the limit on the department head's payment card, just out of curiosity?
That's a good question. I think it's up to 1,000. Anything beyond 1,000, I have to sign off on.
Approve?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The manager's always been the one with the final say.
Correct, yes,
And
sir.
that's, my vote wants that to stay.
And that's for just department heads, not constitutional officers, is it?
That's
Not any
department
of them.
heads under you.
Any of
Is
them,
that
yes.
right?
But not constitutional officers.
Same with them too.
So if the sheriff got ready to buy a car out of his budget, he wouldn't have to come in front of the county.
The requisition comes through, but I'd have to sign off on it. But usually if it's coming out of the funds, you all would approve it, because that's the reason why the sheriff would come here to get that permission to use SPOS funds and such. And then the requisition would be done, I would sign it, and it would go through, but it would have to come through the commission first.
Okay, I got a question.
Unless they're bought from the sheriff's fund, for drug
fund.
confiscation stuff, yeah.
Okay. All right, very further.
and this is not something that must be added to the agenda tonight, but we continue to hear complaints and inconsistencies and, cumbersomeness, if that is a term.
Where are they coming from?
With that, this is over the course of the last few years. And that's throughout our different
Department
counties,
heads,
so.
employees, or what?
Yeah, that's not even specific to Ware County. I'm saying throughout our different counties. So
Oh, I
this
see.
is one
Okay.
that we have applied now to numerous counties and made it fit. Of course, each county is different. Some counties have county administrators with very low spending thresholds. Their boards are more involved in the daily activity. But overall, what we're looking to do is be consistent, of course, number one, with state law.
Right.
And then number two, have it at the level of control that you all desire. So we can study on this. This is not something that has to be put on the agenda tonight, but I think it's an important conversation to have and to take a fresh eye to. And I expect y'all probably have not looked at your purchasing policy in many, many years. So it's a good idea to take a fresh eye to and
Yeah.
let's study on it.
And you know, Jennifer, it's couple of things that I really think need to be, considered, like say, budgeted and non-budgeted items. It's a big difference, you know.
It's very different, that's right.
So if it's already
So like I
budgeted-
said, I'd love for you all to, take this home, peruse it, let's discuss it, let's make any changes that you'd like, answer any questions you have, and then at that time, if you think it's what's right for Ware County, we could certainly put it on the agenda.
Cause this is increasing some of his power to spend.
Yes, sir. It's set at 25 and it would go up to 50 if it's budgeted, meaning the commission's approved it in the budget for whatever item that may be.
But to be clear, and that's up to you all's determination as to what that level would be.
I believe it's working pretty good like it is now.
Yeah, roads.
So I guess,
Road construction is still, is it at 200,000 or was it
Yes,
at
sir.
100?
Yeah, that has not changed.
It
That's right,
hasn't,
that's
what?
state law.
Okay.
but one of the things I could say is when we go back, and I know Steve's saying it's working pretty good, but I guess with prices and stuff are going up, then my main thing is once it's budgeted, we've already approved for that item to be purchased, whatever it may be, and basically the manager just carrying out without having to come and say, well, hey, I need to do this, if we've already approved it,
Right.
you know.
That's
not-
exactly the idea, Commissioner. So and it all just depends on what level you all are comfortable with. And so that's something that you may want to study on and discuss before we make a final decision.
Okay. Any more? Okay. So we don't want to vote on this, we want to carry it over then to the next. I mean,
Yes, sir. Yeah, so we could just, in a
Not
sense,
vote on
not carry
it.
it over, just table it.
Okay, let's table this one.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, the bid award for 2023 emergency roadway repair. Brandon Dunn.
Brandon, can you speak to this,
Brandon, you
please?
come up in. Tell us what you got. I don't see, you had two bids.
Yes, sir, Chairman.
Okay.
We were made aware of some, problems, and the need for some repairs, and so we went out and took some pictures, 8 Mile Post Road, and we got some of those included, in the item that y'all have there, some of those areas. We tried to, put some coal mix in, just to safe it up until we could try to get something together really quick on a bid, and, that's what we got here. We reached out to 4 bidders that are shown here on the bid tab, and we did receive responses back from 2, and those, numbers are there for you.
Brandon, on the Swamp Road, well, I thought there was some up there, along in there that needed working on.
Is
Around
that
Joe Griner lives somewhere along in there. Wasn't there some bad spots along that road there?
Was that on some pipe crossings there? Was it just like a, kind of a dip in
No,
the road, or did you actually see
You
some?
got holes in the side of the road there.
Okay,
Is it, did you miss those, Gene, or did you see them? They're along there about where Joe Griner lives and, on the edge of that Swamp Road. Wasn't there a bad spot or two there?
I didn't ride Swamp Road this time. We found so much on Swamp Road the last time we were out there that, there was some bad settlement, some rutting and stuff.
yeah.
There's a couple of places up there I think we missed that probably needs, we may have to add it to it.
Yeah, we were trying to, maintain that keeping in mind the numbers that were just discussed before
Yeah.
I walked up here. And so if we go up there on Swamp Road where you're talking about, it gets really, really big, really fast. There's a lot of bad stuff over there,
Yeah.
exactly where you're talking about. So we might have to just do a project just on Swamp Road, maybe the first, what would it be, about 3 miles, Kenny?
First one was terrible.
First mile's terrible.
It's there about that old country estate,
Yes, sir.
where they so bad at.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Might have to
Okay.
do, we could probably put a package together on that one pretty quick, if that's what y'all want us to do. We didn't want somebody to pop a tire or something like that. I don't know if there's any huge potholes where you're talking about, Chairman. I think that's just kinda like a base failure there and, some real bad flooding.
Okay. All right. Anything else on it? So you recommend Scruggs?
Yes, sir. Seemed like
That's part of
in
that
line
new,
with what we were wanting to do as far as the prices and everything.
I think that's part of that new law that just passed, isn't it? Says you gotta go with the low bidder.
Yeah. What's that?
That's not a new law, but correct, for over $200,000, if it's a road project in Georgia, then you are required to bid it out. This does
Okay.
not fall under that because of the threshold it's under, and also there are emergency exceptions, to the normal rule, and even in our current policy, there are emergency exceptions, so. But I do believe, my understanding is who's recommended here, it was the lowest bidder, or the lowest quote, maybe is more accurate.
Yes.
Will this catch most of all of the hot spots we've been getting the most?
Yes, sir,
Yes,
except for the ones you just discussed. We've got a couple of maps that you included,
Yeah.
it's got those areas shown.
I
But
know.
if there's something on here that we missed, we could put another one of these together and go to some other areas, anywhere anybody has any suggestions.
Okay.
What do you think's causing these places, like, right, I'm looking at 8 Mile Post, number 4, year Lottie Tatum Road. You see what I'm about right here?
Yeah.
What's causing that? Is it the moisture burn the dirt, or?
What we've
That's a
seen
clay base.
in a lot of these
That's a clay
places, Commissioner Barnard, is like Windmill Road is on here, and we've had to do some other patches in the past, and where we go in and cut down, we find some gumbo and some, suspicious material there that's probably been the problem there, that just, the moisture gets in there, these roads crack over time, and then the shrinking and swelling, they get soft and pumping, and then the pavement goes away. It's not able, asphalt's a flexible pavement, it's not gonna span over any kind of weak spots. Those things are gonna show themselves, whenever we run across that.
There's no cement in that, that's the sand clay.
That sand clay
Sand
base,
clay in it, and
the sand clay base is not very durable.
Sand, clay / gumbo.
yeah.
But they have also raised the weight limits. And so this is probably gonna be a ballooning issue for us here in Ware County with the
Hey, that's-
road limits going up on stuff and people hauling, we've had a lot of timber cut in Ware County this year. I don't know if anybody saw that, but there was a lot of timber cut, and, it's just, maintenance type of thing. Those weak spots are gonna show themselves when they begin to get overloaded like that.
Them roads have lasted a long time now.
Roads, yes, sir,
They
you're correct.
served the purpose a long time. They've been there 40, 50 years.
We've resurfaced some that were 55 years old
Yeah.
recently.
Swamp Road, pretty old.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank you, Chairman.
thank you,
Yes, sir.
Brandon. We won't carry that over then, okay? Vote on it. Okay, the Dixie Union Road and Tillmore Dixie Union Road Drainage Repair Project. Now,
Brandon, you sat down too fast.
yeah, you left it quick, Brandon. Yeah, you gonna do them pipes there.
Yes, sir, we've got a drainage, paving resurfacing project coming up. That
Right.
we want to do in that area. And so, this is that system that we use, Mr. Chairman, out on Central Avenue, where, they were able to go
The
in
line, the
there
pipes.
and drill down.
Yeah.
And, put in some of that, Urotech system that tries to stabilize the soils and firm that up.
Right.
And, they can actually lift it up a little bit, but they're real careful when they're out there with the paved roads, especially with a lot of cracking and stuff like that. They kind of
Yeah.
trying to keep it from, continuing. Got a lot of leaking head walls and things like that you can see in these pictures.
Yeah.
And, anytime the head walls are involved, you can really, increase your costs on that, tremendously. So we were trying to look at something we could do without having to,
Yeah, some
just
money.
spend a whole lot of money replacing a bunch of head walls. out
Okay.
there.
Yeah, I think it'll work.
So far, so good on Central Avenue.
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of good things
Yeah.
about this system on other projects.
Yeah.
They're DOT approved, and we'll actually be piggybacking on the DOT contract to do this like we do on a lot of other things.
Yeah, when I told you about that, I told you I'd already had experience of doing that one time myself. I had to have it done. I let a bull cave in with me
On a,
on a state highway.
state highway.
Remember I told you they pumped it in, jacked the highway back up.
Yes, sir.
It'll work.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anything else on it?
Or just money
Y'all
coming-
wanna ask him about it?
The money coming from T-Block discretionary fund,
Yes, from the regional T-Splosh.
$126,000.
It'll come under okay, now this is gonna be done too. You got the paving project out there on the,
It's out to bid right now.
Jamestown Road now.
Yes, sir, it's out to bid right now.
It's out for bid though.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
This needs to be done before paved road.
Yes, sir.
right, okay. All righty,
Yes, sir, thanks, Chairman.
I think that's all. Brandon, appreciate it. Okay, the funding request for the Okefenokee Gateway Getaway sponsorship. Jason, you come over here and tell us about it.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to introduce Laura Dixon. She's the director of the Downtown Waycross Development Authority. So I'd like for her to come up and be part of the presentation.
Yeah, her and Jason. Okay, both of y'all come.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. This is a project that has come about from the coordination that we've had with Charleston and Clinch County over the last probably 8 to 10 months. We've had the downtown development authorities heavily involved in all of the projects that we've got going on with the Okefenokee, which includes the Okefenokee Experience, taking the 3 entrances, and instead of fighting over control over the 3 counties on whose entrance is most important, we're working together to create a true experience of the Okefenokee Swamp. So the Okefenokee Gateway Getaway, which you can find on our website, okefenokeegatewaygetaway.com, is going to be a regional collaborative on Georgia-Florida weekend, leading up to Georgia-Florida weekend, where we try to attract the state legislators down to our region to see everything that South Georgia has got to offer in the Okefenokee area. It's starting in Charlton County this year. Ware County will be the host next year, and then Clinch the following year, and we're going to continue to move that around. Each community has been asked to help out with the sponsorships of this to the tune of $5,000 per community. So we've split it up between the development authorities, the city, and the county, so that way not one entity has to carry the full burden. The benefits of this is it's getting the focus outside of Atlanta and into southeast Georgia. Unfortunately, you've got Locate South Georgia taking care of the western part of the state. That was created well before I came on board, but we really don't have a strong presence in southeast Georgia. So this is establishing that presence and trying to make sure that the legislators, tourism, everything will start focusing on southeast Georgia because we are a logistical hub. We've got direct access to 3 main ports in southeast. We've got the largest rail line in the southeast, and it processes more cars anywhere in the
So this is a great opportunity for us to showcase what we have and make sure that the legislators are still looking at our community and trying to help us locate new industries here.
Is this gonna take place at Okefenokee occasion that they have in Orlando?
No, this is totally separate. So the Okefenokee occasion went away due to COVID, and the regional commission decided they were not going to bring that back. We are still going to do like we did last year, where we're going to have a delegation go up. The conversation is taking place now of when we do that, because the timing that we've been doing it has been conflicting with so much other things going on, and it's been extremely expensive. So we're looking, I'm actually talking with the Georgia Department of Economic Development. We may do a combined Region 9 and Region 11, which we sit in 11, South Georgia occasion type deal. I've been speaking with Andrea Taylor about that, but we also have the Chamber Eggs and Issues that we'll all go up there for. This is not going to take place of that, but it's going to hopefully get our legislators down here and be able to see exactly what we have instead of us going up there and saying, okay, we've got it. We want them down here to see it for themselves. And I do want to show appreciation to Commissioner Burst, because he's been able to attend quite a few of the meetings in Charlton County and in Ware County for the different, 3 different projects that we've got going on right now.
This past Wednesday night, we had a legislative meeting out at the swamp, out at Okefenokee, at Lord Walker Golf Course.
Yes.
We had the Speaker of the House there, several legislators from different parts of the state was here. It was a real good, little get-together out there.
And I was there that morning, the next morning, helping them get ready for the golf tournament,
Yeah.
and they were all there too. So I was just getting back from Athens, so I missed that. So attended the World Prosperity Council.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I may, Jason, appreciate you coming, and also, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, the thing has been, you know, you got, like, say, Clinch County, then you got, Charlton County, Waycross, and it's always been kind of like, this is the interest to come in this, but what they're trying to do is try to get where we get away from territorial type thing and where we just promote the swamp. And if you would, Jason, could you or the young lady elaborate a little bit more on about what's taking place now with the Okefenokee Swamp Park being considered, was it like a national?
It's not the swamp park, it's actually the wildlife refuge is now, or just got the green light to go forward with their application that has actually been going on for I think 40 years. They've been trying to get the approval to go forth with the UN to be recognized as a World Heritage Site.
Right.
So by the end of 2025, we could have a World Heritage Site right here at our fingertips, which is another part of this gateway experience, is we need to start preparing for the influx of tourism that could be coming to this area because of this process. It'll be a positive thing for all 3 communities. And one thing that will assist in getting the approval at the UN level is seeing all of us be a community around this and a support system around this. And that's what ultimately this project is all of us kind of coming together, holding hands and saying, we support this, we support the heritage site, we support the swamp, and we support each other as communities. So each day when they come down here, there's different activities in the community for them to do. For instance, in Folkestone, they'll visit their downtown and their train depot, and then they will go out to the Okefenokee Farm, which is an amazing project happening down in Folkestone. And that they'll have a reception. The following day, they will visit that gateway to the swamp, and then they will go out and tour their industrial park so they can see all the different aspects of Folkestone. Next year will be our turn, and we will be able to provide them experience, show them our downtowns, show them our entrance, our industrial park, and everything that we have here in Waycross, and then it'll follow through next year. And every year it will continue to rotate, so every year it will continue to grow, especially once we get that World Heritage Site.
Right.
Okay. Can I ask one question? When we speak of World Heritage Site and it being recognized by the UN, are you referring to the United Nations?
Yes.
That's correct, just like any of our national parks.
Yellowstone Park.
It'll be the
It'll be the
first,
first refuge.
it'll be the first refuge, park, that Fish and Wildlife has. But to dispel any rumors, it will not be controlled by the United
Right,
Nations.
right. Thank you, Jason.
It will not be controlled by the United Nations. Statue of Liberty is not controlled by the United Nations. Yellowstone National Park, the Washington Monument, any of those things are not controlled by the United Nations. This is going to be
Or
exactly
the
the
federal
same
government.
thing.
So it will just,
But once it's labeled World Heritage Site, then that mining company that's been trying to come in 10 years can no longer come in.
Not necessarily. It depends on the
On where.
boundaries that are established, which, you know, that's not something that we're getting involved in here, because, you know, of course, the protection of the Okefenokee is an important matter, but depending on the logistics of all of that will determine the true impacts of industry and everything else. So we are working with U.S. Fish and Wildlife, balancing nature and commerce. I don't think that's a bad thing. We can do industrial development in a smart and effective manner. You know, we've had issues in the past with the community that said, we don't want that kind of industry here. And, you know, we've got to pay attention to what our community wants when we're looking at and recruiting industry.
One thing to look at, Mr. Jason, thank y'all for coming, by the way. If you want to see what companies like this do, the mining companies, go take a look at that large hunting club over in Brantley County and look the way they left that over there. I mean, you got 30, 40, 55-foot holes that they promised they were gonna fill back in, that's been holes for the last 20 years now.
Right.
And they're still mining over there.
And I do think that is a totally separate conversation from what this is.
Right.
So that's a totally separate conversation from this.
Okay.
So right now, Jason, what they're wanting to do is get cities and the counties to contribute, I guess, toward this effort to, sponsor, I guess.
Yes, because next year, we're going to be asking for each one of them to do the same for us. And if we show up and do our part, then we can ask them to make sure they do their part next year.
And right now, it's what, 2,500 from the city?
2,500 from the city,
25 from the
2,500 from the
county.
county, and each development authority is doing 500.
Okay.
We're asking for 500.
We supported financially the Okefenokee occasion, as Commissioner Barnard brought up, and I think we can well support this.
This is a lot less expensive than they go.
and it turns the money back
Yeah.
here. So
I
I'm
think it'll
sure
be-
they're gonna be spending
I think will be money well spent,
Yeah.
and, I support that 110%, you know, for that effort, you know, because I know how important it is in the long run, you know.
Yeah, I support that. Okay.
We all legal with it.
Any more?
Lady Attorney?
Well, we'll have to add it to the agenda tonight and take a formal vote, but of course, we do financially support, development authorities. And so
Right.
essentially, we'll be giving the money to them, and then they'll be spending it within, their allowed purposes.
We're carried over for a vote. Okay.
As long as we don't go to jail.
Jason, I'd like to ask you, one thing while you're here. We talked about the state patrol post. All right. Could, and I don't think, I think I've still been on, if we ask you, would you do something for the county, like find out what it would cost to build a new post?
I can definitely reach out.
And somewhere, a location?
I can definitely work with both commissioners and with the state on that as well.
And get us a
Find out
number
what that
back to us where we can, you know, I mean, I'm just asking for a number. I'd like to, it looks like this thing needs to be done.
is. Yes, sir.
Something.
And, you know, it will be a legislative act before
Right, yeah.
a decision is made. So,
Maybe if you could get with Steve and, Lucas and come up with some kind of price that maybe we could look at.
I can definitely work on that, yes, sir.
Work on that. The parking area and maybe a location and all,
We can definitely work on that.
on a new building. Okay, all right, I appreciate that.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Mr. Jason.
Okay. And that's everything for today. All right, we got a county manager report.
I don't have anything, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, commission comment.
I don't.
We got okay, I hear a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye. Okay, meeting adjourned. We'll come back at, let's see, it's 5:10, 5:30.
We've got a public hearing scheduled, was supposed to be at 4:30, so we want to take a few minute break.
Oh, yeah. Okay,
Want to take a break?
4:30.
Take about an hour, don't it?
Yeah,
Take a break.
all right.
Take a break.
About 20 minutes, 5:30.
5:30.
5:20?
And he's saying 5:30.
Over here.